This is the whitest paint in the world. Supposedly. At least that's how it's marketed. I do like this company. I've used their blackest black paint before. This stuff right here, and this stuff really is the blackest paint that you can get as a consumer. As an example, I can show you a painting I made with it a little while ago, and you can see just how much darker their black paint is than golden acrylic black paint. It is way, way deeper. So in this video, we're gonna see if those claims are true. But instead of doing a bunch of tests, which are super boring, we're gonna just make a regular painting. I'm gonna be using their whitest white paint as the background, and then for the subject matter, I'm going to be using Golden's flat white paint. That'll be a good comparison for the two, and then we can really see how much better or worse it is. I've got the panel that we're going to be painting on right here. I've gone ahead and primed it with some gesso. The image that we're going to be using is this guy right here, but this isn't the full image. There's also going to be some gold leaf elements to the background as well as some text. I'm going to use some of this Surreal transfer paper. This is just some graphite paper. Not super necessary because you can always just do this yourself by just taking the back of your image and just like drawing on it with some real soft kind of graphite, and then it'll transfer it as well the same way. But for our purposes, we're going to use this. The first things I like to do is just to block in the areas that are going to be like just almost solid black. I'm going to add a little bit of this stuff, this acrylic glazing liquid, to the paint. It just kind of helps it flow a little bit better. When I'm painting, you know, there's a couple different ways you can do it. You can do it like the far easier and much more efficient way of blocking in colors and then going back and doing passes with lights and shadows. Or you can do the much longer but looks much better for video way of just rendering it completely section by section. So we'll probably do a little bit of a combination of those so that it looks good on camera. Came out pretty cool. I like it. I did a kind of a hard line stencil version of this, you know? So yeah, I like it. So the next thing we have to do is work on all the background elements. First thing we have to do is mask it off. I've got this masking film right here that we're going to do that with. Time to paint the white background. I'm going to be using this whitest white paint and see if it really is the whitest, brightest paint in the world. We'll find out. This is going to take multiple coats. We're going to build it up slowly. The paint is looking super white to me, that's for sure. Maybe their claims are going to hold up. It's definitely whiter than the gesso, white gesso that we've got as the current background. That's for sure. Paint is drying. We've got the stencils here, so it's time to extract these guys. But you gotta be careful because they will rip if you don't carefully take them off. That's why I use this tool to loosen the glue and release them cleanly. And there we go. Can you see it? And then the next one is super easy. This is just a circle. This is what will be gold leaf. I'm pretty impressed. It is very white. It's a lot whiter than, you know, the gesso, and we'll just have to see how it compares to the white once we take the mask off. But before we do that, the first thing we are going to do is the gold leafing. Got a stencil here that we will use with some spray glue. Let's check what we got in the gold leafing box here. Decide which one we're going to do. And here's all our leaves. Okay, we got 24 karat gold right here. I guess let's count up how many 24 karat gold leaf sheets we have remaining. Let's see if we have enough to cover this. Okay, I think we have enough. We have about 12 sheets left, which should be plenty. So let's do that. 24 karat it is. We're gonna keep the mask on while we do this, because after we gold leaf, we're gonna do some spray painting of some text that'll go on top. Check out how reflective this is. If I get it just right, it'll disappear. Look at that. Isn't that crazy? What? There we go. Nuts, right? Conclusions time. Let's talk white paint, and more specifically, white 2.0, and whether or not this holds up to its claims of being the brightest, whitest paint in the world. I would say no. It's very similar to the golden flat white. It is a lot brighter and a lot whiter than the spray paint. It is kind of laughable, the difference. This white spray paint, which is shock white, the whitest one that they make, it looks yellow in comparison. It's pretty crazy. To more clearly illustrate this, I went ahead and made a little test sheet. I can show you here. On the right side, we got spray paint. In the middle, we got white 2.0, and on the left, the golden flat white. And then I did a little stroke of white 2.0 across the golden flat and across the spray paint. And then I did a stroke of the golden flat on the very bottom of the white 2.0 and across the spray paint, so we can really kind of see the differences there. It is really hard to tell the difference. You can see it is way whiter than the spray paint, but when comparing against each other, they're both equally just as bright, just as white. The only differences I see are slight changes in temperature. You've got the golden flat, which is slightly more cool, and white 2.0, which is slightly warmer, but both of these are just barely moving the needle. Is it the brightest, whitest paint? No, I don't think so. I think it's very similar to golden's colors. I think it really just comes down to your preference, whether or not you want something that's slightly cooler or something that's slightly warmer. I'd say it's on par with golden, which is, you know, they're a top tier paint, so good job, I guess. If you do order this paint, be prepared to wait many months to get it. This is a small little studio, and they seem to get backed up really fast. Those are my thoughts on it, and now I think it's time for the final shots of the finished painting. Be sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more of these, because I will be making more. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.